as you know, as we're all trying to get through these scary times, this leaves everybody at home with a lot of free time to, watch shows maybe they hadn't watched before, or movies they didn't normally have time to see. Well, now we got the time, so yeah, I want to talk about season 1 of a show that actually has been on my mind more recently. So I'm going to talk to you about season 1 of The West Wing. Alright guys, gals, and everything in between, I'm here today to review for you The West Wing, Season 1. Now, The West Wing Season 1 is a show about what it's like to work for the President of the United States, and it follows Martin Sheen as the President of the United States, President Bartlett. You go from like his personal assistants to the Chief of Staff and all of these people and all the little inner workings that it goes around to make a presidency. And I think it's a show that has a heightened level of appreciation for me right now because, you see all of these things on TV all the time with this 24-hour news cycle. You really see what all goes into just a day-to-day life of the president. I actually started deciding to watch this show recently because, I guess for those of you who don't know, I've been taking those things that you see the ads on like YouTube and platforms like that of something called Masterclass. And Aaron Sorkin has a masterclass on screenwriting, and he often cites examples from his show, The West Wing. And I went, I've watched The Social Network and all that, but I've never actually seen The West Wing. So I figured, yeah, I'm gonna watch it, and wow, does it deliver with the writing. Aaron Sorkin, he just knows how to write dialogue, and write dialogue really well, even if he's not in that position. So, obviously Aaron Sorkin's never been president. He's never worked for a president. He's just been doing amazing writing, frankly. Because every story, every bit of dialogue just feels like what a person would actually say. And while for many of you, you may say, well, duh, that's how you'd write. It's so amazingly hard to write believable dialogue. It's really genuinely difficult, and Aaron Sorkin just does it beautifully in this show. The season 1 is 22 episodes long, so what I have to say with that is, it's a lot to get into. And I said, you're gonna have those filler episodes, and even the episodes that are a little more fillery, in all reality, I looked back at it and went, well, but they weren't though, because every single day the President of the United States has to deal with so much stuff and all these little inner workings. And so it's not really filler, it's another day of a list of monumental things the President has to deal with. Some of them go away right away, some of them don't, and they really touch on that and it makes it more believable. Also, the cinematography is really great in this show. I really loved, in order to show how hectic and constantly moving the White House is, the camera work, they would be moving with the people, having their conversations. It was a lot of the show of characters walking down hallways having a conversation, but the camera wouldn't cut. The camera would then move from this conversation, and then all of a sudden it would be panning over here to these people walking, having a conversation. And every now and then they'd interlink. So, like if the Chief of Staff is talking to his assistants, and then you're talking to the press secretary, and then the press secretary breaks off, and the camera follows the press secretary, and then it goes to the president, and then go into the Oval Office. It was a constantly moving thing, which, for a generally dry subject matter of political drama, it actually made it intense in a way. So the camera work was used very tactically, and that was really good on them. If someone says, well, I don't really care for House of Cards. I personally love House of Cards. But my thing is that where The West Wing actually has an advantage to a disadvantage over House of Cards is that there's redeemable characters in this show. West Wing, it has a lot of positive messages, and it also shows these powerful people doing ordinary things and being happy while they're stressful, and there's some really stressful days in the White House, in the show. They would still show them joking around with each other, just being nice people. And in a time like this where people are worried, people are panicked, it's nice to have a show like this that you can watch where not every person is an irredeemable douchebag. Even if they're a villain for that episode or they're a hero, they always try and show people in the brightest light, because in all reality, a villain is the hero of his own story. So even people who are not the good guy, you still see them being good people. They're not being bad people. They're playing the politics. They're playing the game. But everybody has a positive side to it. And that's just a really uplifting and frankly refreshing thing, because the popular thing right now on TV is to make a bunch of anti-heroes or villains where they're not really good people, but they have to maybe do a good thing. And so really, props to Aaron Sorkin for making this incredible TV show. If you haven't watched it, I recommend giving it a shot. I am going to give it a 4 out of 5. It is a lot of episodes to take on. I happen to just, well, have the time to binge basically an entire season until my eyes went crossed. But it's an absolute 4 out of 5. It is definitely worth watching. I hope you give it a shot. Alright guys, gals, and everything in between, what kind of shows have you been watching lately? And will you be giving The West Wing a shot, or did you also happen to know of this show and agree with me? Don't forget to like and subscribe. I got plenty more videos coming to you. Love you guys.